On June 25th of this year, Korean drivers face more strict regulations about drunk driving. Under a new so-called Yoon Chang Ho Law, driving even after one shot of soju or one beer could put you over the legal limit to get you a DUI. The law is named after a victim who lost his life in a drunk driving accident. The danger of drunk driving cannot be overstated, but we still see many cases of DUI accidents. Unlike in the past, driving service agencies have become very common in Korea, but there are still many who get behind the wheel after drinking, and we don't see a dramatic drop in the number of DUI cases. The new law that contains stricter rules and more severe punishments is expected to raise public awareness and help reduce the cases. Under the new law, you should be careful as you can be punished for drunk driving even the morning after drinking. With a blood alcohol level 0.03% and above, you will have your license suspended. Blood alcohol level of 0.03 can be detected even when you don't feel hungover. You may feel sober, but if you drank last night, you better leave your car at home. People hope the new law will help reduce the number of DUI cases and lower the drunk driving fatality rates. This new law will enforce harsher penalties and standards for drunk driving. So the word enforce harsher penalties. Harsher means a lot more strict, a lot worse in some cases, and even more difficult. So if you think of like harsh weather conditions, it's either very hot or very cold, but in this case, harsher penalties. So the fines and the punishments will go up. So they are harsher. The new law has decreased BAC levels and increased punishments for drivers under the influence. So when we talk about drinking and driving, when you get pulled over, they give you a breathalyzer test where you have to blow into a tube, and that will read your BAC, blood alcohol content. So we mentioned in the article, BAC, in this case, if you blow a 0.03, that means your license will be suspended. So you have a blood alcohol content or BAC of 0.03. And finally, we say driving under the influence. Driving under the influence is another way of saying drunk driving, but under the influence could include if you're taking a powerful cold medicine or any other kind of drug that's under the influence. So it just means not necessarily alcohol, but all different things that can affect your brain. The new legislation says that you can get a DWI if your BAC is over 0.03%. In this case, you will get your license suspended. If you blow a 0.08% or more, your license will be taken away. The previous limits were 0.05 and 0.10 BAC. All right, so I wanted to talk about that in the first one, I said the new legislation says that you can get a DWI. So in this podcast, we've talked about driving under the influence, DUI, and DWI. In America, each state's a little different how they define it, but a DWI means driving while intoxicated. So that means you drank, you got pulled over, you had more alcohol than the limit, and you're going to go through the official court case. But a DWI is more serious. It means you're guilty of drunk driving. Now, a DUI means driving under the influence. So driving under the influence, that can mean a lot of things. It can mean drinking. It can mean drugs. It can mean, let's say you only have one beer, but you're very tired and you're kind of going all over the road. If a police officer sees that, he might smell alcohol. You're not legally drunk, but you were tired, and the combination, he may give you a DUI or ticket, driving under the influence. The penalties are less severe than a DWI, but still it goes on your record, and it's not good. And then if you get your license suspended just means you temporarily lose your license for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And I said, if you blow a 0.08% or more. So to blow a 0.08, it's the language we use if you get pulled over and you have to take a breathalyzer, the little machine that you blow into to see your BAC. If you blow a 0.08 or higher, you get your license taken away. So we use the verb blow when we talk about the drunk driving tests. BAC levels have been reduced to curb drunk driving. The new levels are at 0.03, down from 0.05, and 0.08, down from 0.10. If you get caught and your BAC is at these levels, you will get your license temporarily suspended or taken away. So at the beginning of that sentence, I said BAC levels have been reduced to curb drunk driving. So to curb something is to reduce something. So if you want to curb your spending, that means you're spending less money. Curb your drinking means you're doing less drinking. Today, we have a lot of options to choose from to get home after drinking. However, there are still many people who get behind the wheel after they had a few too many. So that last part, many people who get behind the wheel is another way to say drive. And then the last part, after they had a few too many. So if you see someone who's very drunk, the expression we use is, that guy had a few too many. I mean, he was drinking, but he drank too much. Alternatively, you could use it for something else. For example, if you like cookies, you eat 5 cookies, 6 cookies, and then you're a little bit full, and you eat the 7th cookie, and then your stomach hurts, you've had one too many. It just means you ate more than you should have, or drank more than you should have. Designated driver services and late night transportation options have increased. However, drunk drivers pose a threat on the road at night. So the first part, we say designated driver. A designated driver is someone who doesn't drink when you go out with your friends. So if you go out with 4 friends, one person, if you're driving, one person will stay sober, not drink. That person's the designated driver or sober driver. So we don't have the daily services in the United States. I've seen maybe one example in London, one in Canada, but mostly we would have a designated driver or sober driver to drive that person home. And then finally, I said, drunk drivers pose a threat on the road at night. So to pose a threat means something could be dangerous. If you have someone driving on the road at night, that means that they're a little bit dangerous. They could hurt somebody or themselves. They are posing a threat to themselves and other people around them. This law punishes drunk drivers, but the people and businesses who overserve the customers and let them drive should also be punished. So I said the people and businesses who overserve the customers. So if in the United States, if a restaurant or a bar or someone gives somebody alcohol and then they get in a car and get into an accident or they kill somebody or drunk driving, the person who served them alcohol is also responsible because if they knew they were driving, they should have stopped serving them. So we call it overserving. So if you're overserved, that means someone gave you or sold you too much alcohol. No one put a gun to the drunk driver's head to make him or her drink, but we need to consider if this person was served too much alcohol by a bar or a restaurant. So the first part, no one put a gun to the drunk driver's head. It means nobody forced you to do it. So if you go out drinking with your friends and they say, hey, you should drink more, no one's putting a gun to your head means it wasn't the option of drink or die. You could have said no. You could have declined. You could have changed your mind. You could have not gone out. But when we say that, if you weren't forced, we always say no one put a gun to your head. I mean, you have your own free will to make your own decision. Thanks, guys. You can follow us on Instagram, MATTSSAM. Also, check out my Konglish book on Reedy Books, RIDIBOOKS. Bye-bye.